mindful of the fact that I have 9 people on the list, and even if I give extra time, we're going to be quite close for time.
I won't take my full 4 minutes.
Thank you.
At the full council meeting held on the 14th of October 2015, Mrs Janet Davey made a perfectly polite, factual address to this council. Following her address, Mr Ken Smith addressed the council and members of the public to clarify that Mrs Davies' comments referred to district councillors, some of whom were present, as she had correctly stated that the councillors she was talking about were paid. This is, of course, fact. It is well known and mentioned in this hall on a regular basis that town councillors do not receive any remuneration. In fact, you yourself, Madam Chairman, has made this quite clear on a number of occasions, if my memory serves me correctly. On the other hand, we are all quite aware that district councillors are paid, and if you're lucky enough to be selected as an executive member, that can amount to a fairly large sum. Following Mr Smith's clarification, Mrs Davey was accused by the chair of making offensive comments. And as you will be aware, I have asked on 3 occasions what were the offensive remarks, but to no avail. However, I did receive a letter on dated the 31st of December 2015 from the chair of the council which stated, "Dear Mr Maltby, after the December town council meeting, I spoke with Mrs Davey for some time. Mrs Davey is aware of what she said and I was unhappy about. Mrs Davey offered to apologise. After further discussion, we agreed that what was said at the October meeting was said at that meeting and that both of us would prefer that no further action was taken. It is, of course, for Mrs Davey to speak for herself. But I did contact Mrs Davey and asked her view on the matter, to which she replied. And I read one paragraph of her reply. I think that Roz's outburst was due to a misunderstanding, pay for councillors, not town councillors. I am happy to say this in a town council meeting, but I think an explanation should come publicly from her, as this took place in a public place. If this was a misunderstanding on Councillor Cruz's part, I am sure that she would like to take this opportunity to say so. However, after listening to the recording very carefully again, and with Mr Smith clarifying the issue of payments for councillors immediately prior to the outburst by Councillor Cruz, I find it hard to accept that this was the case. And if it was, why on earth did the chair not just clarify the position of payments instead of making unfounded accusations on the night? And there were, of course, 2 further meetings that this issue has been raised by me when it could have been put to bed. So for what I hope is the final time of asking. Having asked this question at the town council meeting on the 14th of October, on the 11th of November and the 9th of December 2015, and not getting a reply apart from no comment, will the chair, having had 3 whole months to consider the question, please tell me what was offensive in Mrs Janet Davies' statement of the 14th of October 2015.
Mr Maltby, you asked me at the end of the meeting in December to write to you. I did. The matter is closed as far as Mrs Davey and I were concerned on that meeting, and that's where I wish it to remain.
It may well be, Mrs Cruz, that you wish the matter to be closed. You made those accusations in public, in front of members of this town, and all I'm asking for, just to tell me what was offensive in what she said. The truth of the matter is, nothing was offensive in what she said.
I'm not going to enter into an argument with you, Mr Maltby. All I did was read what I read tonight for a second time. We have agreed, Mrs Davey and myself, that we wish the matter to be closed. And that's where it is going to lie.
It will lie there until February meeting when I'll ask the same question
okay,
again.
we'll ask again.